What if I told you that a single Venezuelan boat wasn't really fighting one U.S. ship, but an entire invisible network of satellites, radars, aircraft, and warships that made survival impossible? Tonight we'll reveal how the U.S. turned the Caribbean into a digital cage, where escape routes vanished one by one. How does a speedboat go from predator to prey in just minutes? And how is the real weapon not the missile that struck, but the data harvested from the hunt? Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. At first light, the Caribbean looks endless. A low roar echoes off the water as a fiberglass speedboat cuts through swells, spraying white foam against the soft colors of morning. The crew believes the horizon is their friend, the vast ocean their shield. They push the throttles harder, watching the GPS readings on a cheap screen, convinced that speed alone will keep them untouchable. To them, the only limits are fuel in the tanks and courage in their veins. As far as the eye can see, it is nothing but blue. Water ahead, silence behind, and the feeling of freedom. But what they cannot see is the silent web already closing around them. High above their heads, a satellite arcs across the sky, instruments tuned to detect the faint heat trail from their engines. Further out, a long-range radar array on a distant American warship has already logged the shape of their vessel against the rolling seas. The smugglers are invisible only to themselves. Their radio bursts, short and coded, slip into the air. Yet those signals bounce from the ionosphere to a listening post, where software maps every syllable, tags every frequency, and stores their location within seconds. This is the principle of the kill box, the unseen cage designed from thousands of miles away. Picture every move reduced to geometry. Any direction they take, even hard turns across the waves, only recalculates a new set of coordinates inside the box. It is not shackles of iron or pursuit by patrol boats. It is arithmetic. Layers of sensors connected and constant recreate the ocean not as emptiness, but as a board where every space is charted. The speedboat may change its angle, may try to confuse radar echoes, yet all of this motion simply tightens the math. On that board, the smugglers are pawns. The Grandmaster is already several steps ahead. Like a chess game studied long before the match begins, the hunters know where the boat can run, how far fuel will last, and which evasive patterns smuggling crews prefer. Each turn of the wheel gives the illusion of creativity, but there are no unexpected paths left. The board has been arranged, and checkmate exists before the game even feels contested. High in the clouds, a P-8 Poseidon keeps watch. From the deck, men see only clear sky and passing clouds. They do not know that a jet circles patiently at 30,000 feet. Its surface search radar sweeps the Caribbean, locking on their every shifting course. Its sensors collect acoustic signatures, mapping the rhythm of the engine against a catalog of known vessels. When the smugglers spin the wheel and veer east, the Poseidon updates the picture in real time, passing data to headquarters and synchronizing with ships miles away. Every fresh maneuver feeds the kill chain. The smugglers believe random changes keep them safe. To the Poseidon's operators, these detours are gifts. The more the crew swerves, the more reliable the predicted path becomes. And it is not only movement being tracked. The aircraft vacuums communication links, hunting for voices stitched through static. One careless word uttered in coded slang is tied to faces, to known associates, to past operations. Within minutes, a total portrait forms: vessel identity, course, crew chatter, and possible destinations. Escape was gone before they spotted a single silhouette on the horizon. The net was woven from data, not steel. A boat thought to be running wild is already numbered, mapped, and stored in servers long before a warship even alters its speed. All the crew feels is the wind on their faces. They cannot feel the invisible hands pushing them toward the edges of the cage, narrowing options until only one outcome remains. Beyond that horizon sits not one opponent, but an entire architecture waiting quietly for a signal to act. Survival was never the real question. By the time the speedboat's crew thought about turning south or tried to mask their wake with erratic maneuvers, the coordinates had already been locked into the American system. Miles away, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer kept a steady course, its own radar netting the horizon, every sweep connected directly to the intelligence flow coming from the Poseidon. The destroyer's fire control computers didn't need to search or scan. Data was already waiting. delivered in precise numbers, exact distances, and updated every few seconds. To the smugglers, the ocean still looked open. To the Navy, the boat was nothing more than a set of vectors plotted on a digital screen. There was no drama when the launch order came. No flashing sirens, no loudspeaker warnings, not even the sight of a vessel approaching. A hatch opened mechanically on the destroyer's deck. A missile slid into the air with a muted roar, accelerating far beyond the speed of the boat it targeted. The strike was never up for contest. The weapon didn't need to find the target. It simply flew toward coordinates already refined by layers of sensors and surveillance. Seconds later, the horizon near the smugglers lit with a sudden eruption. Wooden planks and fiberglass shattered instantly, vanishing in fire before echoing waves carried the smoke away. What remained was more important than the wreckage. Every intercept collected before the missile struck was already stored in the secure channels. The voices heard in coded slang, the exact timing of their radio bursts, even engine noise patterns unique to that crew. All of it joined databases used to track hundreds of similar operations. The boat's loss was tactical, but the real victory was invisible. Information to be cross-matched against known narcotics routes, phone numbers, and encrypted communications bouncing throughout the region. A single strike provided data threads that could unravel entire networks. As the fragments burned and sank, Washington's briefing rooms carried the tone of triumph. Officials announced the success live, calling it a blow against narco-terrorism and linking the crew to broader organized crime. The words were chosen carefully, referencing the operations of groups tied to Venezuela's underworld, including the feared Tren de Aragua syndicate. On television, anchors spoke of disrupted trafficking channels. In reality, analysts were already dissecting the deeper significance. The strike had proven American ability to conduct precision action without warning, and more importantly, with a perfect record of intelligence capture. Inside Venezuela, the response was immediate and furious. President Nicolas Maduro appeared on state television, calling the action an attack on sovereignty. Troops in coastal bases were placed on alert. Mobile radar stations lit up and scrambled fighters roared overhead, streaking low across the water near the American destroyer. It was a symbolic gesture, but one meant to show defiance. Streets filled with government supporters chanting against foreign intervention. The blow against a single smuggling boat had suddenly shifted into a confrontation between nations. Global players watched closely. China and Russia both signaled stronger backing for Caracas, sending ships into joint exercises and offering expanded trade deals meant to offset sanctions. The Caribbean, often a background to other conflicts, became charged with the weight of rival alliances. What started as the takedown of one speedboat now stood as a potential ignition point for larger confrontation. Was the strike truly a counter-narcotic success, or the opening move that unbalanced the region's fragile order? The answer hung in the air, undefined, as fleets circled and new deployments shadowed the Venezuelan coast. The missile was not the decisive weapon. The real strike came from the network that wrapped the sea into a grid, guaranteeing the kill long before a ship was in sight. Every intercepted call, every radar sweep, and every heat signature became part of a system designed to hunt without pause. If water itself can be turned into a digital cage, then future confrontations are not about ships and missiles, but about who controls the web that defines the battlespace. One smuggler's boat became more than a target. It became the spark-shaping power across the entire Caribbean today.